Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown of brothers as two DBD clanmates, the Black Fawn and Stormrunner, go head to head as the Tomb Kings meet the forces of the Warriors of Chaos here on the Sulphur River. And my god, do we have some insanely cool builds. I am in love with this Warriors of Chaos force. So let's hop in here and have a look at the rosters. So for the Tomb Kings, we do have a nice little skirmish contingent. We have Skeleton Horse Archers dotted out, vanguarded and venturing a little bit adventurously ahead of the army. Looks like they are going to tussle with some Chaos Warhounds from the rip here. In the main battle line, we have Skeleton Spearmen as well as Skeleton Warriors. So cheap, cheerful chaff. Just happy to be here and get a nice little day out in the sun. They're there to bog down, slow down the enemy and absorb some of that damage, whilst the rest of the build really packs a punch. And you can see that punch is coming in the form of some of these Necropolis Knights. We have some just in the back here, as well as some Skeleton Chariots. Leading the forces, we have a Leech Priest of Light Magic, coming in bonus Time Warp and Fast Protection. Should be able to buff up the Skeleton Spearmen and Skeleton Warriors to mean killing machines. We also have a Necrotect coming as a bad ass on this chariot here, coming in with the Glorious Restore. Probably going to be using them on those snakes, hence why you can see them rolling together. And the Stone Shape is a really powerful, lovely ability. Apart from that, where is the Lordship? Looks like they're floating over, hidden in the trees with another unit of Necropolis Knights. We indeed have the Queen of the Sneaky Snakes, which really does kind of fit thematically with this build. High Queen Khalida, surf into battle as she is one to do. She's coming in with Tomb Strike as well as the Venom Wave and My Will Be Done as well as the Curse, a very powerful kind of last-ditch ability that she can indeed use. Fun build so far coming in from the Tomb Kings. But for the Force of Chaos, we have Chaos Warhounds with Poison, instantly hopping on top of those Skeleton Horse Archers, supported by double Marauder Horsemen with Thrown Axes, really good at taking down constructs and other such units. In the main battle line is a mixture of Chaos Marauders, as well as Forsaken and Chosen with Halberds. We actually have two of these bad boys, and this is as rock and roll as you get. It's Chaos pure and pure all the way through, right down to the bone. These guys are living, walking badasses, coming in here to slaughter, and will do very good up against the snakes, but likewise, despite the fact they're designed to deal damage to anti-large, they'll also easily and quite comfortably chew through all the Tomb King ground forces. Forsaken are going to be absolutely adept at that as well. So I believe we have, let's have a look, 2 units of Forsaken, and I thought there was 2 units of Chosen. Maybe I am mistaken, and there is just the one. Nope, there's a second one hidden in the trees. That trees seem to be doing their job rather well. With Archaon the Ever-Chosen coming down on horseback here with a Fireball, Flaming Sword Rune, Burning Head, and of course the Slayer of Kings. Always looks very thematic and badass as he's getting ready for war. And over in the distance we have a nice little contingent of Marauder Horsemen with Thrown Axes, as well as another unit of Chaos Warhounds looking to whip around the flank, get behind the enemy and surprise them. So for the most part, the Skeleton Horsemen have done a relatively solid job here. One unit's taken a bit of a beating, but due to the fact Khalida was ready to ambush the enemy, those Chaos Warhounds will be getting forced off, and now the Horsemen are aggressively hunting down the Marauder Horsemen, who have relatively decent melee stats, and it looks like they are going to turn to engage here, but they're taking massive damage just simply due to the sheer number of the Skeleton Horse Archers pouring in that far, and it looks like a really nice early victory over on this flank for the forces of the Tomb Kings. But the main battle line is getting underway, and that will certainly favour the Warriors of Chaos. These Marauders crash into the Skeleton Warrior shield wall, which is hastily being made, but Forsaken ripping bone from bone. These Skeleton Warriors going down in a matter of seconds here, as the Forsaken really getting in there and clawing apart their far weaker enemy. The battle line is rather wide, the Chaos looking to just punch through mainly on this left-hand flank, and Archaon the Ever-Chosen is fleeing, moving back away from the trap of the double Sneaky Snakes alongside Khalida, and Chaos Marauders have been sacrificed here onto the right-hand flank to hold the enemy back, whilst some Chosen Halberds do indeed get into position and actually hunting down the Necrotect and those large snakes, which is a good target priority coming in from the Chaos, but likewise Tomb King player knows this and is simply going to be falling back. Skeleton Chariots doing a decent job of cycle charging down the enemy front lines, but the much weaker Tomb King forces struggling to hold back the infantry at the moment. They really need this cavalry to win their flank engagements, but on this left-hand side, Marauder Horsemen coming in here, going to be doing some nice poke to the rear of the Skeleton Warriors. However, on the far side, the Tomb Kings doing far better. Skeleton Horse Archers have indeed forced off the enemy skirmish cavalry, likewise those Chaos Warhounds, and can now come in to try and assassinate the rest of the enemy forces. Archaon the Ever-Chosen does have Stand or Die popped, but he is having to flee from his life from High Queen Khalida, as well as the Necropolis Knights, who do now have Brandon's Time Warp popped on them, diving into the Forsaken Marauders. They're going to be able to chew through them with absolute perfect professionalism. And yeah, coming down, Brown's time up, doing a good job. Tomb Striker was popped as well, like, and the Ever-Chosen decides to flee for his life, which I do not blame him whatsoever. Looking to reposition and charge in after these Necropolis Knights who have Fast Protection on them. Doing a good job so far up against the Chosen with Halberds, but once that magical boon does wear off, the Chosen are really going to start making them pay the price. Arcane Ever-Chosen bouncing around, trying to hunt down the Skeleton Chariots, which certainly isn't a bad idea. These bad boys are up to 33 kills, but they are now starting to disintegrate a slight bit here. Ushopti Summon has gone down once again on the Chosen Halberds. Not a unit Ushopti are normally good against, but if you're a summon, well, you're going to die anyway. Might as well chuck them in where you need them. Over here in the trees, Arcane Ever-Chosen has been jumped once more by the Necropolis Knights and the Necrotect, which is a little scary for him. Yeah, Archaon is a badass and a bit of a beast, but you can see he's trying to escape and run here. Luckily for him, his Chosen Halberds are nearby, and they can disengage, come over here and try to help support where possible. The other unit Chosen is a little behind the times, trying to catch up with the main fight, but Skeleton Horse Archers are going to be dogging their footsteps and just slowly raining fire down upon them. Now, 120 armor, though, is certainly no joke. In the back line, some of the Skeleton Horse Archers have been caught now by the Chaos Warhounds, also been focused down by a couple of units of the Marauder Horsemen with thrown axes, and Archon has now finally been able to escape that little cluster over there, away from the Necropolis Knights. But despite this, balance power is relatively heavy in the favour of Tomb Kings at the moment, as some Chaos Warhounds do bounder onto some Skeleton Horse Archers, but they're very low HP and their morale is starting to falter. With more Skeleton Warriors returning, looking to pin in the Chosen where possible between all of these units. And on the far side, you can see Forsaken have been dealt a killing blow. Getting 123 kills, though, not too shabby. But where the High Queen goes, the Tomb Kings do prosper. Floating over to this flank, destroying the Forsaken and forcing off some Chaos Marauders, who now have to trudge their way back to the party. Luckily for the Warriors of Chaos, a load of their troops are rallying and coming back to the fight once more, reinvigorated from the blood of the Blood God, no doubt, as Forsaken charge back in. 86 kills on those bad boys so far, and the Chosen do make a stand here, although Brightness Time Warp once again going down on the Knights as well as the Skeleton Warriors and High Queen Khalida. This is a dangerous situation. Archaon comes charging in. Stand or Die has been popped, looking to buff up those Chosen and keep them fighting where possible, because Fast Protection's gone down as well. And this is a real flustercluck right now of an engagement. Chaos Marauders, Forsaken, Halberds, all the Lords. It's just a massive mixing pot of death and carnage from both sides. And who's coming out on top? It is really tough to say right now. With Brightness Time Warp on them, I think the Tomb Kings are doing relatively solid work here, but the Chosen are holding the line. Thankfully, partly due to Archaon the Ever-Chosen, Slayer of Kings has been popped, and now he is dueling the High Queen herself, and she's simply no match for a combatant like the Ever-Chosen, although she is standing and fighting bravely by the side of her troops. The curse does come down, that means she's below half health, but it's going to do some really lovely damage to all of these Chaos Warriors, which are really bunched up together. The Marauders, the Forsaken, all going down, not having a good day whatsoever. But likewise, Skeleton Spearmen starting to crumble, and with all the infantry going for the Tomb Kings, they could find themselves in big problems, because the Chosen will love to feast upon these Necropolis Knights and the High Queen herself. Archaon getting danger low, does decide to fall back through his own troops. Beautiful micro there coming in by the Chaos player. And at the same time popping a Flame and Sword of Rune, buffing up all these troops, and they will be able to dispatch the Knights rather comfortably. But the Tomb King player, not out of this yet, deciding to fall back with a lot of his troops away from the Flame and Sword, make him waste that magic. No need to engage if you don't have to. Unfortunately, the rather slower Skeleton Spearmen kind of being sacrificed here to hold the enemy in place, while the Knights do continue to cycle charge where possible. It looks like for the most part the Marauders are breaking. They of course are the lower ranked troops, Forsaken and Chosen holding the line a little bit better. High Queen Khalida needs to be careful. She's slightly away from her bodyguards, and Archaon could come in here for a bit of a death kill, although the Necrotect and Knights do rally to her cries, and now Archaon is the one who needs protection. But is Chosen here once more. This unit has been an absolute bulwark in the centre of the fighting force for Chaos, holding the line when all seemed lost, and they're doing a really fantastic job. Stand or Die once again has been popped on them, increasing their melee defense to 81. It's going to be so hard to get past their guards and actually hit them, and now the Lich Priest is in a bit of trouble, and those Necropolis Knights are finally going down. They've done a pretty good job though so far, I must say. Skeleton Spearmen have engaged now with some Marauder Horsemen who have run out of ammunition, the other unit using up the remainder of their axes to help clear out and save their allies, before no doubt coming over here to try to deal with Khalida herself. The Lich Priest and the Necrotect fighting back to back at the moment, but up against Chosen, certainly not a good fight for them, as the two generals do kind of dance around each other a little bit, neither one wanting to get fully involved. and High Queen Clear now taking some rear shots, but in comes the Lich Priest to her aid, trying to slam down Archaon, and he's down to 849 health, not too much at all, but a Flaming Sword of Rune goes down, and he's going all-out aggression. Don't need any of that melee defense, we just want the extra melee damage, but he may pay for it here as the Necrotech slams into his flank, but with a swing of his Flaming Sword, he decapitates the High Queen and falls back once more behind the wall of Chosen. And with that, the band's power goes from even all the way just floods down to army losses, and it shall be a victory for the bad guys. The Warriors of Chaos sealing victory when all looked lost, predominantly down to a mixture of Archaon and that single unit of Chosen Halberds in that big flustercluck of a fight where there was just a little mixture of all these different Chaos Warriors fighting back to back against all the horrors the Tomb Kings possess. That was a really good fun one, a very close game. Massive shout out to the Blackthorn and Stormrunner. Two super lovely people. If you meet them on quick battles or in tournaments, always feel free to say hello to them, and you know, they'll happily play a few games against you. Real good sportsmanship as well from both of them as always, and of course they do represent DBD rather well. Yeah, once again, massive shout out to both the guys and a good victory for Stormrunner, and thank you for Blackthorn for sending this one in via my Discord. There's a link down below if you want to send in your own replays, get involved in the tournament scene and all that kind of good stuff. So I really think this did come down to the Chosen, the one unit of Chosen. There was some good target priority early on from Blackthorn to try and nip at them a little bit and kind of drag the Chosen down. And he did really successfully manage to overwhelm one of them. And I really like the idea of the Bronus Time Warp with the High Queen and the Snakes to turn them into absolute lawnmowers. But likewise, it does also buff up the lower tier troops around them, hopefully giving them a bit more of a chance up against, you know, the more hard elite infantry Warriors of Chaos can bring to the table. So we'll get into damage value, damage dealt, and all that good stuff in just a second, but if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a big fat thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content, as it gives you a little more heads up on YouTube when I am putting out videos, which is once a day for the most part, and a couple of live streams a week. If you do want to support the channel, you can do indeed. There's a link to my Patreon just below in the description, as well as a link to my Nexus account. If you're looking to pre-order any Warhammer games, you can indeed do it through there, and it's all approved by Say and all the good folks over there. Also, down below in the description, there's links to my Discord. You can join in, submit replays as we said before, but also chill out with a load of cool people and see a glorious amount of pictures of ducks. And also, once again, feel free to comment down below what was your favourite moment in the battle, who's your MVP, and what would you like to see in the future. But anyway, on to the good stuff. For the Might of Blackthorn, we have the High Queen Khalida with an impressive display, 2,035 damage value, not too shabby whatsoever. The Lich Priest and Necrotech fared a little worse. Of course, the Necrotech coming in with 778 damage value is not terrible by any means, particularly on the Chariot. But the Lich Priest obviously is not going to get much damage value. He was really there for the support, well-placed Far's protection and bonus time warp to try to carry the day. Across the board, the Skeleton Warriors did, of course, struggle. They are cheap and cheerful chaff, like we spoke about earlier on. And the Chariot, though it did some good cycle charging early on, eventually got caught up by Archaon. And once he's in amongst Chariots, they don't really stand too much of a chance. As for the Horseman Cavalry, relatively okay damage value across the board, nothing too crazy. But the main punch of the Tomb King force came from these double Necropolis Knights. 1.4k damage value on one unit, the other 1.2. Those guys worked as a strike force with Khalida, did some really solid work and nearly managed to win the day. But Storm comes out victorious, Archaon the Ever-Chosen with a whopping 2,938 damage value. I really do think he's the best pick here in this matchup for Warriors of Chaos. He can go toe-to-toe over a lot of the large constructs with Slayer of the Kings, and also Fire Magic's really nice up against Tomb Kings. And because you're combining your Mage and your Lord together, it gives you a little bit more resources, because you now don't have to spend a load of money on a hero caster either. The Chaos Warriors across the board got solid kills, but not that much damage value. The Forsaken, on the other hand, got insane kills, 132 and 106. Of course, it was mainly up against the lightly armoured and cheap troops, so the damage value is not crazy there, 670, 758, but they did the important job, because if you can get rid of that chaff, then the big sneaky snakes don't have anywhere to hide, no one to take the damage for them, then you can surround them and drag them down. One unit of Chosen with Halberds managed to get 1,158 damage value. Solid work by them, but the other one, my god, this was the unit we saw just holding the line desperately. 2,567 damage value. Brilliant work by them, 104 kills, 14k damage dealt, surrounding Archaon and protecting him multiple times from assassination. These guys certainly deserve a bit of a promotion. As for more of the Horsemen, 982 damage value here, 394, 160, 190. These two units getting caught out rather early. Likewise, the same situation kind of happened with the Hounds. Both performing okay, though, coming back and still, dogging at the heels of the enemy skirmishers. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.